Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
Welcome back to another episode of Swim Lessons. I'm your host, Dallas Hansen. Thank you for choosing us wherever, however. Today is a very special episode. My guest today is assistant coach for the Minot State University men's basketball program, Jeremy Brandt. I've known Coach Brandt for a long time. He's coached all over the state of North Dakota when it comes to high school basketball. He won a state championship with Beulah High School. That's where I kind of found out about Coach Brandt. And now an interesting situation develops where he gets an opportunity to be an assistant coach on a collegiate team where his son Trey plays on. So it's a really unique story, and just getting a chance to know and talk and listen to a guy like Coach Brandt was really inspiring, and I appreciate his time greatly. But before we get to Coach Brandt, we got to talk about our sponsors because they make today possible. Number one, PSP Network is game day. PSP Network has been supporting local student athletes for a very long time. They're getting into the heart of boys and girls basketball and boys and girls hockey. So make sure you tune in. They've got a plethora of games on their schedule week in and week out. Make sure you check out that schedule of events on their website. That's psp.network, or on YouTube at PSP Network. Nick Holberg and his crew do an amazing job, and we appreciate all the support they have given Swim Lessons, the podcast. But yeah, give them subscribe to that channel on YouTube. It's really fun. They've got always good games on. If you're a sports fan, it's a must-have. Next up is Glosso Angus. Glosso Angus, a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons. They're a premier source for registered Black Angus cattle since 1973. Glosso Angus cattle showcase dominance, durability, and docility, and they are built to thrive on the northern plains. Check them out. GlossoAngus.com. They just posted a bunch of really cool pictures. They've always got good things going on with their cattle business. Glosso Angus, GLASOE, Angus.com. Next up is River's Edge Bar and Grill, right there in Williston, North Dakota, in Bakken country. We're looking for that sweet oil. We're looking for that oil in the Bakken country. If you're looking for that oil, make sure you stop in at River's Edge Bar and Grill. They are known for offering the best happy hour in town, providing unbeatable deals in a lively atmosphere. Guests can also enjoy a variety of entertaining activities, including bingo, trivia, and the very popular Name That Tune. Come down to River's Edge for great drinks, great food, and great fun. Next up is Fancy Panda Design. Fancy Panda Design is an independently owned design studio that specializes in branding, logo design, and marketing. They focus on adding value into your business to be as successful as possible. Deliberately distinctive design. Get fancy with Fancy Panda. Love Fancy Panda. Since 1972, this next sponsor, they've been doing it since 1972, long time. Since 1972, BSN Sports has helped area sports teams look their best as they strive for their goals and dreams. They provide apparel for uniforms and equipment for teams in nearly every sport. Local service with a national reach, that is BSN Sports. Contact your local BSN Sports representative for more information. BSN Sports is a proud sponsor of Swim Lessons, the podcast. And last but not least, one of my favorite companies, I get a chance to work for them in the booth. That is Game Day Media. More than a game. Your leader in live video sports coverage in Northwest North Dakota. At Game Day Media, our goal is to expose, support, and promote the best athletes that North Dakota has to offer. Subscribe to our channel at Game Day Media ND on YouTube, or find them on Facebook at Game Day Media for schedules, quick links to games, stats, everything you need to follow that favorite student athlete of yours. And also enable alerts on YouTube and watch for upcoming events. They've got a lot too. So how privileged are we in this great state of North Dakota to not only have PSP, but also Game Day Media? So appreciate all those sponsors. They make the world go round and round for Swim Lessons, the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe to everything we're on: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're getting close to our 500 subscriber goal on YouTube. And once we get there, things will really start going well for us. But thank you to everybody. Appreciate the support thus far. But this was a very fun interview for me. And I give you, without further ado, Coach Brandt. One of my fondest memories of you is in 2012, Divide County. I'm 2 years out of high school. Divide County makes a state B. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go help my alma mater. I go. I buy a ticket for all 3 days, same spot, and I had a front row seat to watch you and the Beulah Miners go on that magical run. I mean, first question, how great of a run was that? And is that one of your favorite teams you've ever coached? And is Cody Nelson your favorite player?
You know, obviously for sentimental reasons, that was the team that got me my first and only state title. So certainly I have a lot of great memories, but there was a lot of things that kind of transpired that went in to create those memories too. The run you said, like, you know, we beat 3 undefeated teams. They were ranked first, second, and third in the state. You know, North Star had, I don't know how many game winning streak when we beat them in the championship game. And, you know, and earlier that year, they came to Beulah and they beat up on us pretty good in Beulah that year.
North Star did?
Yeah. That was the first of it. We scheduled them and then we got to play, the next year we went to their place and then played 4 wins in rugby on a neutral site. So we got to, travel around a little bit. And we did a lot of traveling anyway with our schedule the way it was. But certainly the run that we made, because, you know, we lost to them earlier in the season, and then we lost in the it was to Hazen. I don't remember if it was in the district tournament or what. And, you know, we
lost in the district tournament?
I think so. Wow. I don't remember that maybe it wasn't the district tournament, but what might have been right before the district tournament.
Okay.
But we lost to Hazen somewhere in there. And, you know, we were kind of down on ourselves a little bit, and we were just things weren't clicking real well for us at the time. And then from there on, we really went on a nice run. I think, because I want to say we went into either the district or the regional tournament, and we were like the 3 seed.
Yeah.
Because we had lost, and Dickinson Trinity was probably 1, and I believe Hazen was 2 at that time. So, yeah, excuse me. So we went on a nice little run there, obviously, and then to get to the state tournament and right away draw Central Cass, and, you know, they were ranked and undefeated, and you just
Oh, you're good. Don't worry about it.
You kind of you don't want to look ahead, but yeah, you look at your side of the bracket and think, well, you know, okay, if we do win this one, this is our potential matchup, and Berthold was on our side, and then you see it North Star on the other side, and, you know, they're 1, 2, 3 in the state. So, you know, our guys we just really had one of those runs where you just, as a coach, you think, you know, maybe only happens once in your career, maybe never does happen. But to beat 3 teams like that were undefeated, and it was just, I remember my wife after the state tournament, after we won it, and I basically had no voice, you know, I was exhausted. And she came up to me and gave me a hug, and she said, "It's about time you got one of these," she said. So, and, you know, and I'm like, "Oh, you're not wrong." So it was, and, you know, it's like Cody and those guys. I still have a great relationship with a lot of my guys, and, you know, a lot of guys off that team too that I communicate with a lot. So, but just really a special team, and one of those things that as a coach, I'll certainly never forget that group of guys.
What's the feeling you get when the final buzzer rings and you're like, oh my gosh, we did it? What are you thinking? What goes through your mind?
Oh man, you know, probably just thinking of, you know, when I first started coaching, and, you know, that was the ultimate goal, right? To get to that point and then be able to play in a state championship. The time that you put in over the years, that, you know, the sacrifices that you made, you know, whether it's your family or things like that you sacrificed because you had guys in the gym, or you went to a team camp, or the scouting, the time you put in there, and obviously on a personal level, just some satisfaction that, hey, you know what, even though it shouldn't matter, so I get kind of emotional about this stuff because I'm pretty passionate about this stuff, but on a personal matter, for whatever reason, and it shouldn't be that way, but you're looked upon differently as a coach if you win a state tournament. Well, now he's a better coach because he won a state tournament. Well, it didn't change me because we won a state tournament. I just happened to have a really good group of guys, and we had a great run, and we won a state tournament, but now I'm looked at differently as a coach because we won it. And that's not fair to a lot of guys that, you know, most of the guys out there that coach. It's really not. There are a lot of really good coaches out there that have never made a state tournament. But, you know, it definitely, as from a personal standpoint, really just kind of, you know, it just felt very gratifying to me, I guess, because, you know, right here in this place in 2005, I lost a state championship game, or we did, when I was coaching in Botno in double overtime here.
I didn't know that.
So, you know, that was in 2000.
Double overtime?
In double overtime to New Rockford. We lost on a buzzer beater, led the whole game, kind of had what we thought we had fairly good control of the game throughout, and they made a run on us at the end, and we missed a few free throws that could have kind of sealed the deal for us, and they came down and hit a shot, I think, on the baseline down here on this end to put it into overtime, and then we ended up losing in double overtime. So that was, when those things happen, you kind of think, oh God, will I ever get this chance again, too? So you kind of wonder. So there was a lot of things like that just went through my mind.
One of the special moments, though, after the Beulah State Championship, because I was just standing there watching the fans run on the court, everything, and then I see John Cole at the corner of my eye just grab Cody Nelson and hugs him, and it was one of the all-time interviews. And I mean, there's John Cole, I think that was one of his last ones, so that's special, too. But, okay, so now Beulah, your last year coaching there, you guys got third at state, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so you had a nice team. What goes through your mind, Coach Brandt, when you decide, okay, now my son, he just signed to play at Minot State. Do I want to maybe transition from high school to collegiate level? Like what's going through your mind, and explain the process to us? That really wasn't, the college thing was never really in play when we went through that kind of that decision between my wife and I. There was some, mostly for family reasons. Obviously, Trey being here was part of that, but our daughter had just got a job here at Trinity in the hospital. Okay. So she was working here as well. We have a farm up by Max Bass, which is, north of here about 40 miles, and my mom and dad still live on the farm as well. And my farm and land is right next to there. So Heather's family is from the Newburgh, or she was from Botno, but they've kind of moved. And she's got a brother in that Newburgh area, and her dad is now here in an assisted living in town. So, and that played a little bit of a role as well. 1000%. So it was it was certainly the family part of it was the big reason. Because after Trey graduated, my wife always, she was like, she was more of the push to want to get back to this area. I loved Beulah. I'd still be in Beulah. It seemed like you did.
Ultimately, I think if it wouldn't have been for some of the family things, I would still be in Beulah. That was a great place. I loved it. I have great friends, guys that played for me that are back there now, that are part of the program or part of the school, or part of the community that I have a great relationship. Beulah was a tremendous place for my family. They treated us unbelievable. So it was more of a family thing that happened. And then that year, after that last year, then after the state tournament, H. Hendrickson, who was the assistant here at the time, he called me because they were going to try to do an alumni team camp with coaches that had some ties to Minot State that summer. So he had called, and we were talking about, hey, are you guys interested in coming up? And I said, well, we would be, but my wife and I have interviews in the Minot public school system here next week. So, there's a possibility we might be moving. And then within a couple of days, Coach Merck reached out to me and said, hey, you know what, I'd like to add another assistant, because their director of basketball ops was kind of doing both for women and men. And then he left that. He went over to Minot Ryan. He's the AD and girls coach now.
Oh, wow.
So he said, we'd like to add another assistant. Would that be something you're interested in if you move up here? So then things just kind of fell into place that way. And what a tremendous opportunity to be able to, right away. First, I obviously went to Trey and said, hey, are you okay with this? Because you've saw my face for, how many years, and I've coached you. And sometimes, I thought maybe it's a good thing for him to get away from me for a while, but he said, no, absolutely. He said, I'm good with that. So things kind of worked out, and that's kind of how that transpired. When
are we going to see a sweater vest, Minot State? I mean, you're known kind of for Beulah wearing the sweater vest.
I know, I am. To be honest with you, I kind of like the quarter zips now, and it's a lot more comfortable. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll be pulling out the quarter zips, but it kind of got to be a joke at school. I quit wearing those kind of with the COVID thing. Everybody kind of seemed like they changed their dress patterns or whatever for coaching. So some of the teachers and then students would bring sweater vests, or game days, they'd wear sweater vests to school. So it kind of got to be a kind of a funny thing for our staff and some of the students and players. And I like I said, I have so many great memories of Beulah and just love the place to death, and the people there are tremendous. And I just, the best 15 years of my coaching life by far was spent there. So
what's been the biggest transition from high school basketball to collegiate basketball?
There's been a lot of things, but probably two things that probably stick out to me the most are the margin for error, with what we run, and how the counters that we have in, okay, if the defense does this, now we have to do that, and or just maybe simply, it might be just simply changing our screen angle. I mean, just little things make such a big difference because this league is scouted so well, and there's so many good players in this league and coaches that the attention to detail defensively and offensively is so much, you're just so much less of a margin for error than in high school. And then probably the other is scouting. You know, I thought I did a lot of film work and scouting in high school, but compared to what I did there, compared to what we do here, it's just not even on the same. No, it's not even close. We'll give our guys an 8 to 10 page scouting report for every team we play.
Wow.
We'll have personnel files. We'll have sets. We'll have, stats. Merck's a big numbers guy. That's something that, for me was kind of, I looked at stats, but not like Merck does here. He's really, he's a lot more analytical than I was for sure. So the scouts that we do and the film that we do is it's just a lot more in depth, and there's just a lot more to it. So those are probably the two biggest things from moving from high school to college.
Well, I came to the game last night, Minot State game, boys game that was, and you guys looked phenomenal. I mean, we were talking off air before we jumped on about the big man from Australia, number 50. You've got a lot of nice pieces. You're now 10-0.
Yep.
Is that correct? 10-0 right
correct,
now,
yep.
as of. What's like something that you and Coach Merck say to each other and make sure that, because defensively, I mean, you guys look so solid. You're playing in your face, man-to-man defense. I mean, it was like fun to watch, and I haven't said that in a long time. It was great basketball. How are practices, and what do you guys say to these guys where it's like it starts in the defensive end? If we score, that's great, but defensively, we got to be at our A game.
Well, maybe I should say that's point number 3 is the difference between high school and college is the level of our intensity in practice. The competitiveness is so much greater because, at the high school level, your range of talent from 1 to 15 or whatever you have in practice is so wide. Here it's just not like that. Every guy is good and they can do something, and so it's so competitive for playing time and minutes, and they have to compete and they have to perform. If they don't, they're not going to get to play.
Yeah.
But defensively, we really that's something we really, I think, and again, I give credit to Mert. This is his stuff. We're just here to if we see some things or help out and give some suggestions and things like that. But he's built this program to where it is now. But that's something he really focuses on, is being able to just to play hard and compete every possession. Mm-hmm. And I think that the guys that we have now, we don't have real highly heralded guys on our team. We're just a kind of a bunch of blue collar kids that they don't assume anything. They just know they got to go out in the court every day and they got to play their asses off to win. And they do that, and you saw last night how hard our guys compete. Oh. They play hard defensively. Offensively, we may have some lulls here and there, but, and even I'll go back to, high school. If you can defend defensively, you can win games simply by just locking people down and being the tougher team. And I really think, I know Merck does, but we as a team really take pride on being the tougher team every night. And so far we've been able to be that way, and hopefully that will continue.
Do you guys play much zone? Is it no zone?
We haven't played any zone yet.
Okay.
Although we'll say last year, and this is one of the games I wasn't able to travel to because I just don't have enough days off from my other job. But I know they went down to Duluth, and Duluth was very good last year. And Duluth got off to a really good start, and we were down by quite a bit, and they switched up and went to a zone, and it just totally changed the flow of the game. And we came back, and we ended up winning that game pretty handily at Duluth. So we'll use it occasionally when we need to, or to try to maybe just change the flow or change their if they've gotten into a good flow offensively, we'll use it to change
switch
some
the
things.
Rhythm up a little
right.
bit, yeah.
But we don't play a lot of zone.
Okay.
Mostly some 2-3 if we do.
Yeah.
And we'll press a little bit as well, but for the most part, we're pretty much just hard-nosed man-to-man and get after you and line up and say, hey, you know what, we're gonna be better than you tonight.
That's watching last night though. There was a kid, I think he played Gunville. Is that his last name?
Jackson, yep.
Watching him shoot in the first half, like it was he shot like 5 threes in the first 3 minutes, and I think 3 of them went in. A couple of them were heat checks.
Yeah.
But I was like, this kid is awesome, and he's a Minot High kid. But that's pretty cool to see a kid that comes from the same town now comes to the university and plays that well.
Well, he's one of those kids that when he comes out of the hallway in the locker room, he's open, and you saw obviously he's got great range, and Jackson plays with such great confidence. That's why, some of the shots he takes, a lot of kids wouldn't take those. And I think, even us on the bench, sometimes we just kind of like, ooh, boy. Yeah. But, he has the ultimate confidence, and we as coaches have a lot of confidence in him as well. And you could see last night what he's capable of. And he's a senior. Jackson's been around this league for a long time. He's going to be guarded hard every night. They're just not going to give him space and open looks because that's his game. So, but yeah, he's had a good start for us this year, and he's certainly a weapon that we can use, and he gets other guys open just because of how he's guarded by teams as well.
When you look back on your coaching career, and obviously you're getting a awesome chance right now to have this father-son bond. You are the assistant coach, but when you look back on your coaching career, will this be one of the highlights of getting to be around Trey for his collegiate career? Or will it be up there with one of them? Or what's the feeling like for you, though, to be, because that doesn't happen to everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just like a crazy, it's awesome. Like that's why when I texted Cody to get your number, I'm like, this is like an incredible story. You go from Beulah and now you're up here. It's just awesome. And then you get to be around Trey, and you guys have this great team, and he's just a redshirt freshman. I mean, what's the feeling like, Coach?
Yeah, I've had this is a great opportunity for me, obviously, that what Mert gave me here, to be able to join the staff, to be around him every day in practice, to be able to go to most of the games. Again, I'm limited with my days off because I do teach in Minot public school system still. So I try to go to as many games as I can. And that might be myself or my wife driving or leaving a little later and driving ourselves, and which is fine. But the opportunity right now that I have is just, it really is. I don't think I could have asked for a better situation, because I had already in Beulah, I had already started preparing. I had talked to my assistant coach and Cody and our administration, and for the next year coming up after Trey's redshirt year, and said, there's going to be times where I'm going to want to get on the road. We might have to have early morning practices, and I might even miss a game here and there because I really want to be at his games. That's something I didn't want to miss. And then for this just to kind of transpire the way it did, it really couldn't have worked out any better for us. So, to be able to have the opportunity now to see him and have that kind of that front row seat, to continue to have that front row seat for the rest of as his career wraps up is a very special thing for me, especially just because. Sorry.
No, you're good, Coach. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Take your time.
That's been his and mine, our connection. I'm very passionate about basketball, and he is as well. And I've seen the time that he's put in to get where he has, and just to be able to experience that with him is really a cool thing for me, for sure. So.
Well, I mean, just from an outsider looking in, when I watch you guys warm up and I'm watching you on the bench and you're jazzing up with your other coaches, and then when they run out and they're like, here's your Minot State Beavers, and I'm just watching you because I was watching you, and Trey walks out and you could just see the pride kind of light up in your eyes, and it was really cool for me, and I appreciate the time today. This was awesome, and I cannot get over, though, like, because I'm about to be a dad. And I can't imagine like the love that you get to watch your son develop, and now you get to be a part of the journey even more. Like high school, you get to be part of a great journey. Now the journey continues, and you didn't even see it coming. Like it's a storybook. It's like a book that somebody wrote, and you just can't believe it keeps on developing. Like, what's the next chapter? Like, is he going to go to the Golden State Warriors, and Coach Brandt's going to go to the Warriors? Like, what's going to happen here now?
No, well, congratulations, by the way.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You.
But that just. It really, like I said, that from the time he was little, that has just been, that's been our connection. And again, I've always been a coach.
Yeah.
Since we've had him. Before we had our kids, I was a coach. I coached before I was married. So I did it in high school for 29 years, and that's a long time. So, but obviously that's been our main connection is that, and to see him now. Again, getting playing time now this year and having an integral part of our team has really been gratifying to me, and I know to him as well because of the hard work that all the time that he's put in. We used to go in the gym when he was in 3rd and 4th grade, 2nd grade. We used to go to the gym on a Friday night, and he'd shoot around for a few minutes and get warmed up. And I remember him in 4th grade he'd come and say, "Okay, Dad, what are we working on today?" And this was in 4th grade, but he's always had that drive, and obviously he played 3 and 4 sports in high school, but he was always driven to be good. But basketball was just that one thing that he really, and again, obviously my influence as a coach had a lot to do with that, though, I think as well. But he was always been a very motivated kid, and just to see all that time that he's put in to come to fruition has really been, for me, that's probably been the most gratifying thing for me.
Well, I was reading about you a little bit before on my drive up here. So you started out in Newburgh, right?
Sherwood.
Sherwood. Okay,
Yep.
Sherwood. But you were up in that West Hope, Newburgh. Your wife's from there?
My wife's from Botno, but see, Max Bass was, so when I played high school, I played in Newburgh because we were part of that co-op.
Oh.
So I played for Coach Hunsker at Newburgh.
Okay.
And so we kind of live in that area there. So, but I got done playing here in the spring of '94. I finished my eligibility, and I was back. I remember in the spring, we were getting ready, this air seeder ready. We were out in the yard.
Oh, you're farming?
Yeah, we were farming.
No way.
I grew up mainly, my dad was a rancher mostly when I grew up. We farmed a little bit, but not much. We mostly had cattle. And then when I got to college, I actually bought some farmland in a farmstead when I was in college. The smartest thing I ever did, right?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, "Hey, you know what? The neighbor's land
God's
is coming
not
up for
making
sale."
any more of it, yeah.
Exactly. So we were actually in my yard. We were working on and I get a phone call from Paul Pearson, who's the superintendent at Sherwood High School. And he said, "Hey, would you be interested we're looking for a head boys basketball coach. Is that something you'd be interested in?" And I still have a semester of classes and then to do my student teaching yet. And I said, "Yeah, I probably would." I said, "I'll, give me a couple days and I'll get back to you." And then things just kind of transpired. And then I went up there and coached for 5 years. And then my wife's from Botno, so we met meanwhile. And then we ended up buying a lot up at Lake Minnegoshi and building a house up there. And then that's kind of when we moved into Botno or up that area. And then when John Hauge was coaching at the time, and he had kind of wanted to be done and get out. So then I took over that head job in Botno then for a while. So
wow.
So that's kind of how it worked out. And then I ended up down in Beulah. So
no more air seeder.
No more air seeder. No, and that's what I always thought. I got my teaching degree, but I always kind of felt that I would end up on the farm and coach in the area close by somewhere, maybe in a Newburgh or a Mohall isn't too far, or something like that too. So that's kind of what I always thought that I would end up doing. And then things just kind of fell into place. When I was at Botno, the business teacher ended up retiring, and I did a long-term sub for him and then got the job there. So I ended up getting a teaching job, and then I actually coached the year before I got the teaching job. So then I just kind of stayed there. And
well, there's a good player right now up in West Hope, Newburgh, Walker Broughton. I mean, have you got a chance to watch that Sioux basketball team?
I've watched them a little bit last year, yes, and obviously the Newburgh part of that too is obviously relates to me as well. But I have gotten to see him play. I know the family very well. His uncle was actually my assistant coach in Botno for a couple years.
Way.
So Jeff Campbell, who's married to Walker's mom's sister.
Oh wow!
Is at the time they had the bank in Dunseith, but their kids went to school in Botno, and I coached Jeremy, their son. So yeah, he was my assistant coach for a couple years at Botno. So I know the family very well. So
wasn't Walker's mom really good at sports?
Yes.
Was she?
Their whole family.
Their whole family was.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, he gets it from somewhere. That tournament last year, I mean, there was, when they played Bowman County in the semifinals, that was like glued to your TV watch. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
But I mean, when you see, when you're trying to, this is one question I really love to ask coaches specifically that have won championships, but when you're trying to create a chemistry with a team and hey, we've got a chance at the end, but we don't want to put the pressure on. We got to just take it game by game. But what's something, Coach Brandt, that you do to kind of create chemistry within the team that maybe a coach listening can make applicable to his team?
Oh boy. I think, one thing that I tried to do a lot of just I tried to get our guys together off the court as much as I could. Maybe it was at our house. We, instead of watching film at school, we'd go to our house and get them out on the couch downstairs, get the TV on, and we'd watch film together. We always did team supper stuff. Once in a while, I'd surprise them. I remember, I think it was my first or second year in Beulah, I had told Coach Ham, Loy Ham was my assistant at the time, I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. I called up to the bowling alley and said, hey, I'd like to bring my guys up to the bowling alley and at this time. So I let them get it dressed. They got out on the court and I said, man, you guys are going to kind of look ridiculous bowling in this stuff in your practice gear. And they were just erupted, and they went crazy. All right, let's. So I said, you got 5 minutes to go change and we're meeting at the bowling alley. So stuff like that, I think created some chemistry and some camaraderie. And I think just, I was accused a lot of times of coaching my guys too hard, and I did coach my guys hard. But I think every week, at least weekly, I really made a point to make sure that I sat them down as a group and said, hey, you know what? This is why I get after you and get on you. This is why I'm hard on you. I want you to know that I would do anything for you, that I love every one of you, but I want the best for you. And I felt like sometimes I wanted more from them than they wanted from themselves. And I just made that clear that, hey, you know what, guys, you can give me more and I expect more out of you. But I also made sure that I let them know that why I was coached them so hard. And I just think they really responded to that well. I think your guys, as a coach, your guys kind of feed off of your energy and they take on your personality a little bit. And I just felt that, I needed to, you coached with Luke. He was obviously very energetic as well. No way, yeah. And, but I really feel that that the guys fed off of that and they take on your personality in a way. So that was just kind of what I felt anyway was best for our teams.
Well, it's one of those things you can't fake being a great coach. You know what I mean? The kids will pick up on it. They're not dumb.
Well, absolutely. And, and I think it was my AD in Beulah a couple years ago, he was having a conversation with someone and this really kind of stuck in my mind, but somebody had told him, there's a lot of guys that want to be a head coach, but they don't want to do the stuff behind the scenes to be a head coach. And, and he was... I just thought about that for a minute, and said there's a lot of truth to that. Yeah. Because it's great to be a head coach, but how are you preparing and getting your guys to get their best effort, but put them in the best position to win too every night? And I think that's that just really stuck out to me when he said that.
What's the future look like for Coach Brandt?
I don't know. I don't know. I've had a few people ask that. I'm probably not the smartest guy in the world. I left a team that went back to the state tournament, in Beulah.
I was going to say, yeah.
And selfishly, I would love to get that 500th win. I've got 497 wins.
What?
And I left a team that went back to the state tournament, right?
So you're 3 away from 500.
3 away, and I stepped away. So, like I said, I'm probably not the smartest guy, but in the whole scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't. Again, like I said earlier, just because I won a state title doesn't mean make me a better coach. If I get to 500 wins, that doesn't mean I was a better coach than what I was before I got to the 500. So
that is special, though. That's like a personal thing.
And as a coach, you don't really maybe think about it when you start out, but as you start getting closer and the more time you put in, it's kind of like, man, I'm getting kind of close. And so selfishly, you think, God, that would be pretty cool to do that, because that is a milestone as a coach. Yeah. But if it happens, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that, because this experience that I've got with Trey and to be able to be part of this has been worth much more than that. Much more than that. Will I be on a high school sideline sometime again? Maybe. I just can't say. I'm not that terrible old yet.
Yeah.
I've got 6 more. After this year, I've got 6 more years to get to full retirement from my teaching job.
Okay.
So I'm kind of locked in where I just I need to, obviously, just for future wise, obviously I need to get to that point and get through that. But and I still enjoy that. There's days, you have your days with everything you do, but I still enjoy that as well for the most part. It's just been on a different level coming to a school system this size, obviously. But so yeah, it's hard to say. I know if I told my wife, went home and said, hey, we're moving to Arizona, she'd be like out the door before I could go. She hates the cold weather and she wants to get out of here. But so yeah, to be honest, I'm really enjoying. I'm trying to at least enjoy this and what we're experiencing now, and having the opportunity again to be around Trey and being part of this program. I played here, so I have obviously some ties here as well, and we just have such a great group of guys, and I think we have a bright future with this team. I think we can continue to improve and get better, and I just am super excited for what how the rest of the year plays out for us.
Well, listen, Coach, I mean, after listening to your life story now, I appreciate sharing everything. Like, it seems like for you've kind of got, like, God's always led you in the right path, and everything just falls right into place for you. So, I mean, I wouldn't even worry about it. If I was you, I'd be like, I know something's coming down. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be something sweet.
We've been very fortunate. We really have. We've been very blessed. I've played for, Coach Hunsker was a legendary coach. I got to play for him, and he was such a good role model for me. A lot of the things that I saw out of him, I've tried to, try to translate those, or be that model to the guys that I've coached. I feel, especially at the high school level, that's so important because of we just have such an impact on those kids' lives, some more than others. But to be able to see him and see how he went about his business, and I still get to visit with him every once in a while, and I really I've been very blessed to have the opportunities that I've had, for sure.
Well, like we were talking a little bit too before air, we both like Dean Winchesky, Minot High's head coach, and he's only got 40 kids out this year. Like, that's not many kids. And obviously Minot North is now a school, but Minot High's got 40. He's not really going to have to cut anybody. And what do you see, though, that's happening around not just North Dakota, but around, like, everywhere with basketball, and why we're seeing the numbers fall short?
It's kind of interesting because my first few years, we actually had to cut kids in Beulah. We had so many kids. I would say within the last 6 to 8 years in Beulah, we had 35 kids out. And now, those numbers have really dwindled as well. So like I told you off air, I really think, and I don't know. Travel ball has not been good, I don't think. And again, I don't know. I don't want to really come down and condemn it, because Trey did it, and Trey loved it. And we really enjoyed that time as well. But I just think the kids that don't do it, they kind of think, well, I'm not doing this, and this guy is, or my buddy is, so I don't have as much of a chance to play, so therefore I'm not even going to play at all.
Right.
And a lot of kids just don't want to be a role player anymore. Right. And in the Class B and now the new A level, the middle, you need all those guys. You got to have the glue. You got to have the glue. Absolutely. You got to have that guy that can go out and get you 6 to 8 rebounds every night. Doesn't care if they get 5 shots a game.
Yep.
That's what makes great teams.
Exactly.
And you need those guys. So I think that has hurt. I just don't think, in general, I don't think some parents have taken as much interest in encouraging their kids to go out and participate in sports.
Right.
Because it maybe hurts their schedule or what they can do. They can't do that snowmobile trip in Montana now because, we ran into that a lot with kids. But, hey, coach, I might miss this because I'm going to snowmobile in Montana. Well, we're in the middle of our season, guys. Yeah. But that doesn't, some parents, they don't care.
Yep.
They don't care. It's not a big deal to them.
Right.
So therefore, they're kind of making them choose. Well, the sports are kind of losing out on that, I think, too. So I think that's part of it as well. And it's just, I wish I could put my finger on it, because it's very unfortunate that our numbers have gotten the way they have throughout the state. Yeah. And I think it's nationally as well. So, I wish I had the answer for you.
What about, like, multi-sport athletes? Are you for, like you said, Trey played it, like, multi-sports is good?
Absolutely. If he would have been a 4-year letter winner, or a 4-sport letter winner for 3 years, had not been for COVID. Because he was doing golf and baseball in the spring, and then baseball and basketball and football.
Yeah.
And just it's getting kids to compete year round.
Yeah.
It's not in the same thing, but they're competing.
Right.
They're learning how to, hey, it's full count here. I'm at the plate. It's the bottom of the whatever inning, and I got to go in third, and I got to get him home somehow. That that level of being under pressure and competing just makes you better in everything else that you do. We encouraged, we had Jim Dooley, now he's in Watford City as the football coach, but him and I had a great relationship. He did such a good job with our guys in the weight room, and we encouraged guys to do more than one sport, get out there and compete, and it was just going to make our programs better as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's spot on. I'm glad you agree. Every good coach I talk to always says, yeah, multi-sports, the more the better. Don't
Absolutely.
just be focused.
And Trey broke his wrist as a sophomore in Watford City, and he missed the Dakota Bowl game because he was still injured. And, people were coming to me and say, hey, well, Trey won't play football next year, will he? And I said, well, why not?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, he will. He wants to play. And that was like, they would tell me, well, that's great, because I thought he got hurt. I thought he wouldn't want to do it anymore. And conversation never ever came up.
Well, that's
It
awesome.
was just like he was going to play. I know as a senior, and I think it was probably, again, I'll go back to the AAU stuff. He was wore out after his summer going into his senior year, because we did a lot of traveling for basketball. And he hawed a little bit about, I just don't know if I've got the energy or whatever. And, when the season started, and it was just like, it snapped, and he was like, okay, let's go. So,
I love
it. But again, like I said, I think that summer just really drained him and kind of wore him down a little bit too. But you look at these kids that are doing multiple sports, they don't stop.
No.
They don't stop.
They don't stop.
And it's a grind.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Well, Coach, believe it or not, we've been at this for 35 minutes. Question I ask every guest on Swim Lessons is, leave us with something. What's something, Coach Brandt, that you say to yourself when you're going through that tough time, and something to get you through and get you to the next level?
Oh, boy. I don't know if I was reminding myself that how passionate I am about what I do as a coach. Basketball has always been a huge passion for me. And I think that I just have to remind myself, or just come in the gym and get with the guys, and it just kind of reinvigorates me all the time. When you get to the end of the season, you're wore down.
Yeah.
You're ready for the season to be over by the time it gets done. But I just again, to be able to be in the gym and say, hey, this we get to go to the gym today, guys. That was, for me, I've always loved that, and I've always said that when that comes a time when I just don't really like to do that anymore, then it's probably time for me to be done, because then I'm not giving my best. And I think it was Greg Batke, I told this a long time ago in Hazen. He started the assistant coach over there, and I told him, he said, because we got to the talk about how hard I coached my guys and our expectations. And I said, I expect a lot out of our guys. I told him, but I said, they expect a lot out of me too, because I expect a lot out of them. So I need to give them my best as well. So if that's a little bit of extra film study or whatever it is, that carries over, and that goes on me as well. So I just, like you said, being in the gym with the guys is always been a lot of fun for me, and I still really enjoy that. And so ultimately for me, that's kind of like, hey, I get to go to the gym today.
That's awesome. No, this has been so much fun for me, and I know you got a shoot around to go to, and you got another game tonight, but give us a quick plug. I know you're on Twitter, but where can people follow Coach Brandt and kind of follow the journey?
Oh, I'm just, I think it's Coach Brandt 33 on Twitter. I don't, to be honest, I don't tweet a lot. I'm just kind of on there. I enjoy, there's a lot of stuff, basketball stuff you can get out.
There's a lot of set plays all the time. You run into crazy stuff.
Oh, it's some of the stuff you see on there. It's overwhelming, to be honest with you. I'll bookmark stuff so I can come back to it and things like that. But so I don't do a lot of tweeting myself. It's more so for myself, just to informational stuff. But it's so that's where I'm at on Twitter, and we're just.
Get to Minot State, come catch a basketball game. The production last night before the game was amazing. I mean, I had a great time. They got blow-up toys for the kids at the end of this is a great facility.
It really is. It's probably a little bit too big for our purpose, but the improvements that they made here at this place is just unbelievable. I remember coming in here to orange tartan and green and blue chairs when I played here. Had the worst shin splints of my life because of that tartan. And, the change that this place has had is unreal. But I wish we could get those crowds back that we had when I played. man, did we get some great crowds. And
You keep winning, they'll come. You
Well,
build it, they will come.
we had some nice crowds last year, and I think we're kind of on the way to where we'll get some good support this year as well. We put a good product out there. We got local guys playing.
Yeah.
And our guys play hard. We don't have any prima donnas that are going to go out there and have their hands in the air and they're going to complain to the officials. Our guys are just going to go compete. They're tough, they're gritty, and they're just a good group of guys, and they're going to play their asses off every night, and that's why we are where we're at right now. So
Yeah, I wish you the best luck the rest of the way. Thank you, Coach, and that's a wrap.
thank you very much. It
Thank
was
you.
a lot of fun to do this with you.
Appreciate it, Coach.